Okay, so welcome to my 6th out of 15 million Bridgerton videos that I'm going to be posting leading up to Bridgerton Season 3 premiere and in the aftermath. Today, we're going to talk about hopes. Okay, we're going to talk about hopes and dreams. And essentially, what I would give my firstborn child to see adapted in Bridgerton Season 3. These aren't necessarily things I think will happen or things that I personally would choose necessarily. And in some cases, they're not even compatible with each other, but each and every one individually, I would like to see it. So I'm gonna rattle off the obvious ones that don't require further elaboration so we can actually dive into like the juicy ones that I have details for. So first and foremost, Canthony. I would like any and in fact, everything Canthony. Thank you. I would also like Kate and Colin to have some interactions. Some of their dynamic from the book was really, really funny and really entertaining. I would love to see that adapted and her kind of helping him this season. Also, more interaction involving Bridgertons besides Eloise and Colin with Penelope. Like, let's get an Antony and Penelope interaction. We haven't had one-on-one interactions, and she's gonna be joining the family, so I would like to see some of the dynamics play out with other Bridgertons. Certain Easter eggs and seeds being planted for Benedict, Eloise, and Francesca that I won't talk about here, but might have another video on. I would like to see beef between Colin and Portia. I would like to see big beef between Colin and Portia, and honestly, generally just the Featheringtons and the Bridgertons. Let the hijinks ensue. Next, Colin crying over Pen. And also Colin standing up for Pen in front of either her family or the Ton. Definitely direct callbacks to earlier conversations. The season one where they talk about declaring love assuredly, fervently, loudly.
You really believe yourself in love. One finds oneself in such an incredible position and, well, one should declare it assuredly, fervently, loudly.
And also the discussion of purpose in season 2, would like to see those recalled. I would like a good reunion between Eloise and Penelope, and then a little establishment of them as a trio. I think that would be really funny and interesting. And lastly, I would be screaming, crying, throwing up, biting on the bars of my cage if the season were to end in a masquerade. If you know, you know. Will it happen? No. Would it be a dream come true nonetheless? Absolutely. Okay, so now with those out of the way, there are a few themes and concepts that I want to see explored in the season, and I have examples. So the overarching things I would like to see. Number 1, jealous Colin. The reason for which being, it eats every time. I don't care what anyone says. It's a classic and really effective storytelling device to let the audience in on a point of view and perspective without doing first-person narration like you have in the book. So it gives Penelope, Colin, and the audience an indication that something's going on here. It's been done the other 2 seasons, so it's tradition at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Let's do it every season. How else are we supposed to tell that people are in love? You know what I mean? There's also something just particularly delicious about this with Colin and Penelope, because number 1, Pen has had her fill of jealousy. I would like to see the tables turned. Men being taken down a peg? Sign me up. If I have to see Penelope be so desperate, I would like to see Colin be so desperate. It's actually called equality and feminism. So. Also, it would be very out of nowhere for the very clueless Colin, which would just be hilarious and delightful to watch. It would be so entertaining. It is most pleasing to me when a dynamic shifts from longing, pining, yearning angst, one-sided, unrequited love, and then the roles reverse and it's the opposite. Come on now. Come on now. And it also sets them on a level playing field, which I think they need to get on in order to have a good relationship. Also, seeing men being psychotic and embarrassing over women just simply will never get old. Number 2, giving Colin a taste of his own medicine. And I have specific examples, things I would like to see done to exemplify this. I would like if, Colin's being a little psychotic, and then Pen's like, well, Colin, you're my friend. You don't count. I just burst out laughing at the mere thought. Also, a role reversal of the scene where Pen is being so unbearably cringy, interjecting and sabotaging his conversation with Marina.
A bushel of tomatoes, perhaps.
Marina hates tomatoes.
Being like, he likes tomatoes, he's going to Greece.
Colin, I've heard you can get excellent tomatoes. Greece. Perhaps you could bring back a tomato plant for Miss Thompson as a souvenir when you return from your travels this year.
I am uncertain of my travels at the moment, Pen.
But you were so keen to travel.
Like, I just would love to see Colin make a fool of himself and be a buffoon. Colin being so flustered he can't maintain eye contact, a la the what a barb conversation.
It's a barb.
We've seen little glimpses of this, which is why that clip has had me in a chokehold ever since and always will. I would like Colin to be like very obvious and Pen to just be like clueless for whatever reason. Whether she's intentionally acting clueless or actually is, she just doesn't think it's a possibility. But rewatching for all these videos that I'm making right now, there's a lot of moments where Pen is pretty obvious, like to his face. And this man, no one's home. Next is near and dear to my heart, literally. I would like canon acknowledgement of Penelope's, shall we say, assets, and Colin's affinity for them. And I would like this done in 3 ways. Not one of 3, all 3. The first being verbal. I would like a line of direct dialogue. It doesn't have to be by Pen or Colin. Get Colin talking about a necklace, and then get Benedict and Antony being like, yeah, sure, you were looking at the necklace. Sure. We just need an acknowledgement of this dynamic, first verbally. Second, I would like a visual cue. So I would like to see in front of my face with my own eyeballs, Colin, with his own eyeballs in front of his face, appreciating the assets. And lastly, I would like, how to put this delicately, a tangible acknowledgement. If you know, you know, if you catch my drift, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. This could be done in a number of different ways. Whatever that looks like, whatever method, whatever that utilizes to accomplish this goal, as long as it happens, it's fine by me. Need I elaborate? Would I? Were this not on the internet? You betcha. You absolutely can count on that. I absolutely would. But for now, I'll leave it there. All this to say also, I have reasons for wanting this besides just being a resident of Horny Jail, and they are as follows. It will begin to feel a bit gaslighty if we do not get some acknowledgement of this. I mean, come on. Hello? No one's noticed? We're all blind? We don't see what's clearly right in front of us? Okay, sure. No one said anything? No. Because let me tell you, from personal experience, even when men didn't find me attractive or I was lower on a social ladder, they still noticed that. Okay? In fact, it was the only thing that they noticed. And that's not what I want for Penelope, but I just find it a bit unrealistic, the fact that nothing has been remarked on whatsoever. Maybe they were waiting for her season to be the lead to do this. Obviously, she's younger in the other seasons. I've been doing my costume video as well, so I've looked at every single one of her costumes. The way that they were hiding that cleavage is crazy. Like, they were really, I mean, they weren't fooling anybody, but they were trying. And let's just say they're sitting pretty now. So I just have a hard time not seeing that happen. I'm like, You're telling me Colin hasn't sneaked a peek? Give me a break. Why haven't I seen it? Why haven't I seen it with my eyes? I would like to see it. Thank you. I also think this is the first Bridgerton female lead that we've had with a different body type and different features, and I would just like to see that celebrated and acknowledged as well. Also, it's really low-hanging fruit. It is such an easy way to denote the shift in Colin's perspective when he starts to see her differently. It's like, okay, it's literally right there. It's so easy. Come on now, look at the material. Next is reciprocal groveling at different points in the season. It doesn't need to be a raking over the coals, but it needs to be enough that it's able to acknowledge and address the accumulation of issues that have come up during their relationship. Will it happen? Who knows? But I think it would be much better if it did. What I think that this could accomplish is wrapping up the storyline with Marina, comprehensive communication between the lead couple, unheard of. I know. Crazy. Combating long-term resentment, and also showing a growth and maturity in your two main characters. It also explains certain things that I personally am curious about. I don't know that they care to really dig into all of it, but I think it's actually really complicated. There's a lot of really complex psychological and emotional elements to this type of a relationship and this dynamic and then the shift. Like Colin's reciprocation, was it always there but he was just blind? Like, did he know how Penelope felt? When did he start changing? What changed it? Delving into those types of dynamics. Also Marina contrasting his engagement to Marina from his with Pen, like him being like, oh, that wasn't real love, now this is, and him being insatiable with Pen. Meanwhile, he's Mr. Proper over here with Marina. seeing that, so then it gives some perspective on what was actually happening and going on. Has being stuck in this dynamic caused Penelope a lot of insecurity and resentment in their relationship once they actually are together? Is she going to be skeptical of him? Like, I just think there's a lot of really complicated things that are involved in that I would like for them to talk about, but I don't know. This is a specific scenario and line of dialogue that I have in my headcanon. So, say, for example, after he finds out she's Lady Whistledown, you know, they're fighting, they're arguing, but they've already hooked up, so they, like, have that connection, there's that sexual tension, and he says something to the effect of, oh, I don't know, I know you hurt my family, but God help me, I still want you. I've read over 300 historical romance novels. That is absolutely something that would be in there, something like that. And vacillating between, like, being really angry and then, like, she's too hot and sexy, and then he has to pounce on her, and then he's like, wait, but no, I'm mad at you, but oh, you're too sexy, but oh, like, that would be such a funny and also sexy little scene I would like to see. I'd also like a bit more expansion and exploration of Colin as a character. Like, he just needs to be fleshed out more. There has been sprinklings of some of his issues of insecurity, inferiority, purpose, comparing himself to his brothers, but I would like for them to be discussed explicitly, especially as it pertains to how that shaped him as a person, and then how that is going to shape what he requires in a relationship, and how Penelope does fulfill that. It's also a potential point of connection for them, because even though the circumstances are very different, the feeling of being disregarded or underestimated is absolutely nothing new to either of them. That being said, again, rewatching for all these videos, I am going to do a Colin character analysis. It's really stood out to me, the Bridgertons, even though they love him, they do treat him well, they really dismiss him. And that is a really glaringly apparent recurring thing that's happened. So I hope that they wrap it up or follow through with it. I would like for Colin to be tweaking over not being able to say Pen's nickname. Like, say, because it's so improper. He really is. He's clueless about this, but he's so improper. Like, calling her by her nickname, like, taking her hand in a crowded ballroom in front of everybody, going into a separate room and closing the door behind you. What are you talking about? That's ruinous, quite literally. Like, that's crazy. That's insane stuff. That is crazy that they do that. So I would like an acknowledgement of that in and of itself. Whether it's boiled down to, like, oh, he just feels more comfortable with her, he knows her so well, he didn't really think of her in a romantic way, so he didn't think of it being compromising, like, whatever. I just would like it explained and acknowledged, at least. But if Pen, like, put down a boundary and is like, you can't, like, I'm courting with these guys, you can't call me Pen, like, you have to call me Miss Penelope, since she's the youngest, or, like, Featherington, like, whatever. And then he's, like, realizing that he really doesn't like that, and he's like, why don't I really like that? Why do I want to be able to call her that? Why do I feel a right to that? And why do I feel distant from her now? And that kicks off, you know, him spiraling. Or even better, Debling or someone else calls her Pen, and he loses his mind. That would be most pleasing. That would be most pleasing to me, personally. Little thing from the book, Portia misunderstanding Colin's intentions. I don't know that this even is adaptable with the way that they've done the show, but it was so funny in the book that had me cracking up. If, you know, he's, like, asking to propose or whatever, her misunderstanding that would be so delicious. Like, it just is too good. It gives Colin an opportunity to stand up for Penelope. It hints to larger dynamics. It gives insight on the characters. Like, it's just so good, and it's just very entertaining and hilarious and chaos. I even had the thought that I think Prudence will be married by the beginning of the season, so it wouldn't be able to be like, oh, are you talking about Prudence? But I would find it it would tickle me. It would delight me if Portia, because this is the kind of crazy shit she would think, was, like, thinking that he was proposing to her and being like, oh, Mr. Bridgerton, I'm flattered, but you're much too young, like, something like that. Because it's so inconceivable that he could be talking about Penelope. That is just too funny to me. Next, please kink and dirty talking phone. Don't perceive me. I would like to see it.
I would like to see it.
That's all I can say on the matter. No, I will not take further questions. The thing is, we haven't gotten it that explicitly with Simon and Antony. I think both of them had, like, one line that you could consider in that realm. But I would like to see for such a staple of the genre of romance novel in general to be adapted on screen, because I think people are a little scared. Like, when have you ever seen it, like, actually really done well and done? They don't really get into it. Like, they're flitting around the surface. They're not really saying the things that we want to hear. So I would like to see some version of that. And also, it just fits his character really well. I won't elaborate. Anyway, plus, I also just love the juxtaposition of, like, I don't like this term, but, like, Colin the cinnamon roll persona, and then he's doing and saying this? Okay. Jeez. I would like some nod or a teaming up or bonding over their shared love of writing. I don't know that they're going to make Colin a writer at all. I don't know that the travel journals are going to be a thing or anything, but anything. It could be their letters, it could be just a passing line. I would just like a nod to it and just them being able to have a moment of connection over this. Or maybe like in the future, he's helping her with Whistledown or something like that. I have ideas about a team up too. Another video. But speaking of letters, I have specific things that I want for the letters. I want for them to have been corresponding for a really long time now, because it's adorable and it's also so improper and so very them. It's just, of course they have been. Of course they have been. I really want to see Colin be, like, distraught about Penelope not returning his letters, and that being the thing that kicks off the rest of his realizations. I would like for it to be spurred on by an intellectual, cerebral realization that preempts the physical realization. Best of both worlds. Come on. I also would like, maybe, like, he continued writing to her, even though she wasn't writing back, but, like, he wrote his own journal every time he thought of Pen, or something he wanted to say to Pen, or something reminded him of Pen, like, he jotted that down, and maybe that's what she walks in on. I don't know that that's even gonna happen. I think that scene could be changed a lot, but if it is gonna happen, I could see them doing that. I would like for us to reap the unique benefits that comes with this type of male main character. He is different than the others that we are used to. You know, he's not a rogue, he's not a rake. He's much younger, much more inexperienced, innocent to some degree, more lighthearted, sweeter, more forthright, more eager. I just would like to see the unique flavor of that, because we love a rogue, we love a rake, but there's benefits on the opposite side of the spectrum as well. So I would like to see some of that done. And I'd love to see the effect that it has on the formula of the show. That would be very interesting to me. Lastly, I would like a little bit more of an explanation or exploration into the two personas of Penelope, because to me, despite the fact that I know logically they are one and the same, Whistledown and Penelope are, like, very different entities to me in my mind. I just think they need to be merged a little bit more, because they just seem like different characters, and they're treated like different characters, when it's actually one. So exploring the psyche of that, like why she feels comfortable doing it behind an alias, her being shy, wallflower, like all those types of things, it gets into her personality and her psychological state. But also, it just, to me personally, it feels a little bit like a plot hole. I'm like, okay, Lady Whistledown is saying and doing all that about, you know, implying and alluding to all these nasty things, like, and then we have virgin Penelope who doesn't know what sex is over here, like, make that make sense to me. What happened? What's the overlap? What's the timeline? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense, obviously, that in her position, she would be gaining knowledge and learning as she's going, right? But it just seems a little inconsistent to me. Or, I would like to see how, if at all, that translates to a relationship for Penelope. Does her knowledge help her at all? Is Colin shocked by this? I don't know, you tell me. Okay, so that is generally some of the overall hopes, dreams that I have for season 3, things that I would very much like to see. Comment down below your things that you would like to see, and if you agree with me, disagree, whatever it is, let me know. Let's all spiral together, because it cannot come soon enough. I am counting down the days. And I will see you again soon for yet another Bridgerton video, rest assured.